Hi all, hope you all are doing good. So today we are going to discuss about human blood. So what is blood? Blood is a fluid connective tissue which transports gases, nutrients, waste and fights infections. So blood is fluid in nature. It is liquid. So it is able to travel freely throughout your body so that it can supply all the nutrients to all parts of our body so that none of our body parts are deprived of essential nutrients and essential gases. So that's why blood plays a very important role in our circulatory system. So, how the blood is circulated? We have our heart, which pumps blood throughout the human body and also takes in blood from the body. So, it blood flows through all parts of our body through these blood vessels, veins, arteries, capillaries, all these structures through which the blood is flowing. So, that's why blood is very essential for the human body. So that if you see, our human body consists of nearly 5 liters of blood, which is about 7 to 8 percentage of body weight. And what is the use of blood? Not only supplying the nutrients, gases, waste, and fighting infections. Through all these functions, it does a very important job inside our human body, which is nothing but homeostasis. What is homeostasis? It means that the internal conditions of the body are maintained stable. That means, for example, if your temperature is there, body temperature, it is 98.6 degree Fahrenheit, which is the ideal temperature for us to survive without any issues. So, what happens if your temperature increases? You will be dehydrated. If it's reduced, you will be freeze to death. So, blood plays a crucial role here by maintaining the temperature at 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. How it maintains? It takes in the body heat inside this blood. So blood is liquid in nature, so it will easily absorb the heat which is produced in the body, and that heated blood is supplied to the skin. So when it supplies to the skin through the environment, through the process of sweating, the whole heat from the body is sent outside. So that is how blood helps in maintaining the body temperature. Now if you see another one, like another example is like your pH, which is the acidity of the body. So what happens is, if the blood finds that the acidity of the body has increased, it absorbs the hydrogen ions. So, and then it reduces the acidity of the blood. So, similarly, it maintains our blood pressure. So, whenever our blood pressure is low, what is blood pressure? If the volume of the blood is low, it will result in low blood pressure. So, to increase the volume of the blood, it will absorb the water from outside the body so that into the blood vessels, so that the volume of the blood is increased, and in turn your blood pressure becomes normal. Similarly, it supplies oxygen throughout your body. So oxygen is required for all our cell functions. Without oxygen, the cells will not be able to do any of their functions and they will start dying. So that's why that is important, which is a duty which is done by our blood. And also, if you see, it removes the toxins from our body. It removes all the toxins, be it your carbon dioxide, which is a waste product of the cell's metabolism. So it removes that carbon dioxide through lungs. So it supplies it to the lungs, and the lungs exhale out the carbon dioxide. So if waste is accumulated too much in the body, it will lead to the destruction of the cells, and body will not be able to survive. So that is how the blood plays a very important role in our body. That's why we are studying about the blood, so that we understand the role of blood and try to fix any issues if found in the blood. So now let us see what actually blood contains. We have seen how blood is useful, but what are there inside the blood? What are the components inside the blood which are helping us to do all the activities which we are telling? So, like temperature control, pH control, how blood is doing. We'll know by seeing what are the components of the blood. Now, if you see this diagram, see the blood contains plasma, which is a light straw colored, amber colored, or we can say light yellow colored liquid, which is filled inside the blood vessel. Okay. Next is the blood contains white blood cells. Okay, white blood cells. White blood cells are divided into two types, granulocytes and agranulocytes. So granulocytes are with granules inside them. If you see, they have granules inside them. This is eosinophil, this is neutrophil, this is basophil. Next is your agranulocytes without the granules, the white blood cells, lymphocytes and monocytes. So these are the white blood cells. If you see, these five are the white blood cells. Next are the red blood cells. They are also called erythrocytes and they are red in color. So these are red blood cells. Next is the small fragments, platelets. These are called thrombocytes, the other name. For white blood cells, the other name is leukocytes. So if you see, blood contains all these components. So these all components are what are going to help us in maintaining the body's internal conditions stable. So if you see here, plasma is there. Plasma has many ingredients which are dissolved in plasma and some which are floating in plasma. We will see in detail what are the ingredients which are present in plasma. So in this plasma, all these cells, be it white blood cells, red blood cells or platelets, are floating. So they will be flowing in this plasma liquid and they will be reaching different parts of the body. So just consider the blood, like our river system of our country. In a country, there are rivers and the rivers supplies water. So let us consider that this as plasma. In that scenario, the ship which is transporting all the essential nutrients is your red blood cell. And in case of attack by enemies, there are army which are protecting the ship. So that you consider as your white blood cells, the defense system of the transportation. And your platelets are like, we can say, the maintenance guys. So whenever there is any repair, these people, platelets come and try to repair the repaired units, like if there is broken wall or there is a blockage. So they will help us in repairing that broken system. So this is what the blood contains. Now we will be seeing the different percentage of the components, how much amount is there in the blood, each of these components. So if you see here, this is a test tube. This test tube is placed in the centrifuge machine. Machine is one where your test tube will be rotated at high speeds, round, 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 round. So what happens? All the ingredients which are present in the blood, the components get separated like this. The denser ones settle at the bottom, the lighter ones will settle at the top. So highest density is having red blood cells, so they settle at the bottom, 45 percentage. Next, the white blood cells, which are heavier, they also settle in between plasma and red blood cells. And plasma is the least dense one liquid, so that is constituting 55 percentage, and it is settled at the top. So plasma, if you see the liquid, it constitutes nearly 55 percentage of the volume of blood. Whatever is there is plasma only is there. White blood cells and platelets, they are less than 1%. They are at the minimum. They do the important work of fighting infections, but they are very less in number. So that is enough for our body. So that's why they are less in number. And if you see the red blood cells, they constitute nearly 45 percentage, which is also a huge percentage, because the huge percentage is there because they have to carry oxygen to all the parts of the body, because without oxygen our body will not survive. So that's why if you see the red blood cells count is huge, 45 percentage. White blood cells and platelets are useful when there are infections or any injuries, we require this. So that's why the percentage is not that much. Next, if you see, we'll look at each of this component in detail. Now plasma is there. So we just saw that plasma is a light colored, yellow colored liquid, or we can say amber colored liquid. But inside that normal liquid, we have so many components present inside plasma. You see, 90 to 92 percentage of plasma is made up of water. So plasma, out of the 100% plasma, nearly 92 percentage of plasma is made up of water. 6 to 8 percentage are made up of proteins, which are albumin, globulins, and fibrinogens. Just remember, these are manufactured by our liver, produced by our liver. Next are our electrolytes like sodium, potassium, calcium, chloride, bicarbonate. So these contains so many, see, so many components. Not only that, again, it contains glucose, lipids, phosphorus, lactic acid, cholesterol, amino acids, and some are got from the intestine, some it absorbs from the muscles. Like lactic acid, it gets from the muscles. It also carries hormones like insulin and thyroxine. Next are waste products, the waste which are released by the cells like carbon dioxide, urea, creatine, bilirubin. All these are also present in this plasma. So we saw plasma is just a yellow colored liquid, but inside that so many components are present which plasma is carrying it throughout our body. Now we will see how plasma is formed. So if you see, plasma is formed uh, from two important parts of our body. One is your liver, and other one is your digestive tract, mainly the intestines. So liver manufactures proteins, which we were seeing that albumin, this one, albumin, globulins, and fibrinogen. These proteins are there, right, which are present in plasma. They are produced by liver, and water and electrolytes, which we were talking on, are observed from the small intestine and large intestine. 80% is observed from the small intestine and 10% from the large intestine. Okay, how they get that? Through our digestive system. We eat food, drink water, that goes to small intestine and to large intestine. So that's where this water, all the other ingredients are observed. So it is very important that you eat proper food and drink water so that the blood is normal. So now what happens is these both mix together, these proteins and water and electrolytes mix, and that is what forms plasma, and that is what is circulated in our blood. So this is how our plasma is getting formed, which is circulating throughout our body. So now what are the functions of plasma? So we know the first function already. It acts as a medium of transportation for nutrients, hormones, and waste products. We know it acts as a transportation system. Next, it also helps in regulating blood pressure, pH, and temperature. That's because plasma is a liquid. It absorbs the heat and dissipate it by circulating it and transporting it to the skin by way of sweat, which we saw. Similarly, blood pressure, it absorbs more water to increase your blood pressure when your blood pressure is low. And acidity, it reduces by observing the hydrogen ions. So, plasma has bicarbonate in it. So, this bicarbonates, no, take the hydrogen ions and neutralize the acid in the blood. So, that's how plasma plays an important role in doing this. Next, it also plays an important role in immunity and blood clotting process. Immunity is from the globulins, which we were discussing, the one of the proteins produced by liver, globulins, that helps in fighting infections. And your blood clotting process are fibrinogen, which is again a protein produced by liver, which is present in plasma. That fibrinogen helps in blood clotting by forming a mesh on the injured site. So that's how the plasma functions. So next we will see how the red blood cells, white blood cells and platelets, the other components of the blood are formed. So these components are formed in the red bone marrow of the pelvis, ribs, sternum, skull, femur, humerus and vertebrae bones. Okay. So these cells are formed in the red bone marrow. So red bone marrow is present in these particular bones: skull, humerus, the top part of the arm bone, sternum, the ribs, the vertebrae, the pelvic bone, the top part of the thigh bone, that is femur. So in the top part, in all these places alone, you can see the red bone marrow. Okay, inside that red bone marrow, we have stem cells called hematopoietic stem cells. Hematopoietic stem cells are present in this red bone marrow. What are stem cells? Stem cells have the special ability where they can transform to any form of cell it has to be transformed to. So if suppose body orders I want red blood cells, it can transform itself to red blood cells or it can mature itself into a red blood cells. If the body orders I want white blood cells, it can transform itself into white blood cell. So that is the specialty of the stem cells, and these cells are that hematopoietic stem cells are present in the red bone marrow, which we have seen now. Now we will see what happens. So see, this is the bone and the red bone marrow is present here. This is your yellow bone marrow and these stem cells are present in this red bone marrow. So in this red bone marrow, that stem cells are called hematopoietic stem cells are present here. So what happens? So these stem cells, now body orders red blood cells. What happens? It matures to myeloid stem cell and then it becomes erythrocyte, which is red blood cell. Suppose the body orders platelets, it transforms to platelets. If the body orders white blood cells, it transforms to myeloblast and then to neutrophil, eosinophil, basophil, and monocyte. Similarly, if the body says I want no lymphocytes, so it transforms to lymphoid stem cell, then lymphoblast, then T lymphocyte, B lymphocyte, and natural killer cell. So it transforms itself into any form it is required to transform. So this is how our cells in the body are formed. So I think you are okay with till here. Next, we will see each cell in detail, its components and what are its function of each component. So first we'll see the red blood cells. They are also called erythrocytes. So what red blood cells contain? They contain hemoglobin. So hemoglobin is an iron containing protein which gives red color to this RBC. So the RBCs are biconcave in shape. Biconcave in the sense it's hollow inside and outside it is elevated, similar to donut without a hole. And it has a cell membrane made up of lipids and proteins so that it is flexible to deform, means change shape and enter very minute no capillaries. Capillaries are very small blood vessels. So to enter those capillaries, these cell walls are flexible, so it can squeeze itself into that smaller blood vessels also without any issues, without affecting the capillaries. And it has this cytoskeleton structure which containing proteins, which gives it a biconcave shape which we were talking of. And RBC does not have nucleus or any other organelles. Why it has done? Because it wants to allow maximum space for hemoglobin so that maximum amount of oxygen is transferred to different parts of the body. So that's why this gets rid of its nucleus or any other organelle. And each RBC contains 270 million hemoglobin molecules. So many molecules are there inside single RBC, and the RBCs go on to live for 120 days. Now, what are the functions of RBC? So, functions of RBC are the main function we all know. It's transporting oxygen to different parts of the body by way of using hemoglobin. And the other one is removal of carbon dioxide from different parts of the body and giving it to the lungs for oxygenation, and also in maintaining the blood pH. How it maintains blood pH? Carbon dioxide, which is released by the cells, if it gets absorbed into the water in the blood, that is plasma, it will result in acid formation. So what blood does? We know hemoglobin will take back the oxygen, it absorbs carbon dioxide, and it takes in water and it produces carbonic acid. So this carbonic acid has bicarbonate ions which are released into the blood, which are neutral in nature, and it retains the hydrogen ions which are acidic in nature. So that's how the pH of the blood is maintained by these red blood cells. So next we are going to talk about the white blood cells. Okay, white blood cells are also called leukocytes, and here they have nucleus and all other organelles which are required, like ribosomes, mitochondria, all are present in these white blood cells. They also contain this granules. So some of the white blood cells contain granules. You can see the small, small dots. So these granules are nothing but they store special enzymes which are antibacterial or antifungal, and they use these enzymes for destroying the pathogens. So that's why these granules are useful. It also has some surface receptors, some surface like um, signals. So what happens is like antenna, it has a surface receptors so that it senses any danger around in your body. If it senses there are germs entered in one any part of your body, these cells go there and try to destroy that cells. So that's why they have the surface receptors to keep a surveillance of your whole body from the external pathogens. So to protect us from that pathogens, it has these surface receptors. And now white blood cells are classified into two forms. One is granulocytes and another is agranulocytes. So granulocytes are white blood cells with granules in it. Agranulocytes do not have any granules in it, or it's like they are not visible, very negligible amount of granules. That's why they are called agranulocytes. So neutrophil, eosinophil, and basophil are granulocytes, and lymphocytes and monocytes are agranulocytes. Okay, so this is the classification of white blood cells. Now we will see what are the functions of each of the white blood cell which we have discussed. So the first one is the neutrophils. So neutrophils are the first responders. So whenever they find any infection, bacterial infection is present anywhere, these are the guys which will come first and destroy that bacteria. These are abundant in our blood. Out of all these white blood cells, these are present in huge quantity. They are like the soldiers. Whenever they see any threat, they go and they destroy. So they destroy invaders like bacteria and fungi. Next, we have the eosinophils. E- Eosinophils are white blood cells which are big, dealing with big threats like parasite worms, which are bigger in size. No, so these eosinophils are helpful there, where they dissolve the parasites or the worm's body, and they will clean up any mess created by the allergic reaction. So, and next, so we come to the next white blood cell, which is basophil. So basophil will be defending our body against allergies. It releases histamine, which creates inflammation of the body. In whichever part we have that allergy, it starts getting inflamed, and heparin is released, which will make sure no blood clot happens, similar to the aspirin tablet, which is given for blood thinner. So to avoid blood clot. Why these two are done? Because when inflammation happens, the blood vessels expand, and the white blood cells can easily enter the injured part from the, or the infected part from the blood vessels. To make the path clear, we have this blood clots being prevented, as well as swelling is created, so that it can call all the other white blood cells to come and fight this infection. That's how the basophil helps. Next is the monocyte. Monocytes are the scavengers, which are the cleanup guys. So whatever debris or bacteria, virus, and whatever is left, and what damaged cells are there, it just goes and eats up all that debris. So all those debris is cleaned by these monocytes. Next is a lymphocyte. What does lymphocyte do? Lymphocyte helps. These are special force in our white blood cells. Okay, specialists. We have some special forces, right? Similarly, like in army we have special forces. Here also we have special forces. They do fighting against cancer, foreign viruses, and bacteria. These are different types of lymphocytes. T lymphocytes will be killing the infected cells and tumor cells. So whenever it finds any cell is infected or tumorous cell is there, it will go and destroy that cell. Then we have the B lymphocytes. B lymphocytes, they will study the previous infection and make antibodies, so that if any future infection happens, these antibodies will kill that virus, bacteria, or other invaders. Another lymphocyte is there called natural killer cells. These are guys who will kill the cell even if they suspect anything. If they suspect the cell is no infected, they will, even though the cell is not actually infected, but it's suspicious that the cell got infected, it will kill that cell. So they will be doing a regular surveillance throughout the body, and if they find any cell which has been infected or any abnormal activity in the cell, it will just go and kill the cell. So these white blood cells, if you see, are doing 24 bar 7 service. They are throughout the day, they are moving in our body up and down and checking if there are any infections. And you know how many days this white blood cells lifespan is there? It is in minutes to few days. That is the lifespan of this white blood cell. Then new ones are produced each time after no few days or few minutes. Unlike like red blood cells, which lives up to 120 days, the white blood cells lifespan is only from few minutes to few days alone. And these are all colorless in nature. Okay, they all do not have color. Now whatever color you are seeing here, this is produced during the lab test. So to study these cells under the microscope, because they are colorless, it's difficult to study what is present inside them. So that's why they add some coloring agents which gets observed by these white blood cells, and we can do a study about these cells. So, but the white blood cells are colorless. They do not have any color. Next, we are going to see about platelets. So, platelets are also called thrombocytes. So, what does platelet have? So, platelets are also tiny colorless cell fragments. They are also colorless. The platelets do not have nucleus, but they have all other organelles like ribosomes, mitochondria, and granules. It does not have nucleus alone. Next, platelets, they become active only when there is an injury to the blood vessel or to any part of your body. So that's when they become this active structure. If you see here, they have some hand-like structures around them, which acts as sticky tape kind of thing on the injured side. It will go and stick on the injured side, closing the opening of that injury and forming a blood clot which will stop the bleeding. So the main function of platelets is to stop bleeding and to repair the injured tissue. That's all about the different cells. Okay, hope you have understood till here. We have studied about all the components of the cell and how it behaves, what are its function. Now we are going to see about the blood groups, how the blood groups are determined. Why blood group is important, while doing blood transfusion, blood group is very important. If um, transfusion is nothing but you are taking blood from some other person and injecting it into the other person. So what happens if the blood group is different? The blood will get rejected and it will affect the person. It will also it may also lead to the death of the person. That's why because it's very important during blood transfusion, knowing the blood group is very important. So now we are going to see how we can determine the blood group of the person and how they found out these type of blood groups are there. So blood group is mainly determined by two ingredients, antigens and antibodies. So antigens and antibodies. So we'll see here. See. So antigens and antibodies is what decides your blood group. So if your antigen, which is nothing but a kind of protein, is present on your red blood cells. So here the important part is played by the red blood cells. So these antigens are present on the red blood cells. These are very small in nature, which is not visible, quite visible. So that's why whenever we draw the diagram of RBC, we only draw the middle part. The outer part is not visible. So we don't draw these antigens. So these antigens are also present on the surface of the red blood cells, and we also have antibodies inside the plasma. These are also some kind of proteins which are present in the plasma, specific proteins. Like all people will not have a same kind of antigens or same kind of antibodies. That's why the blood group varies. Okay, for some people you will have this type of red blood cells, some people will have this type of red blood cells, some will have this type of red blood cells, some will have this type of no, red blood cells. That's why your blood group varies. Okay, so these will decide your group, your antigens and your antibodies. And there is one other antigen called RHD antigen. Okay, RHD antigen, which is also present on the, this is also a protein which is present on the red blood cells. If it is present, we call it as positive, A positive, B positive, AB positive, or O positive. If that antigen RHD is not present on RBC, we call it as negative. So A negative, B negative, AB negative, and O negative. Okay. So now we know that how to determine the positive and negative. Now we'll see how to determine the group. If you see now here in group A, if you are A, blood group A, then on your red blood cells you have A antigens, okay, and antibodies of B. So in plasma you'll have antibodies of B are present here. So this will be group A. In group B you have B antigens, proteins on your red blood cells, and antibody A proteins in your plasma. This will form group B. In group AB, you have both antigens A and B on your red blood cell and no antibodies in plasma. And next in group O, you do not have any antigens, but you have both antibodies, antibody A and antibody B in your blood. So these are the different types of blood groups which are present. So hope you have understood till here. So in summary, we know there are different cells like WBC, RBC, and platelets, plasma. All these components are present in the blood. We have studied the function of each component and why it is important, and how these cells are formed, how plasma is formed, what are the functions of each of these cells, and what are the different blood groups and how it is determined. So, hope you have enjoyed today's session. If you like my video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you all.